Most people think transformation comes from doing more, working harder, or cramming every hour with activity. But the truth is, it's not the quantity of time that changes you. It's the quality of your focus. 1 hour of deliberate, distraction-free work each day can achieve more in a year than 10 hours of scattered, unfocused effort. Think about it. An hour may seem small compared to a whole day, but if you guard it like treasure, if you step into it with clarity and purpose, that hour becomes a forge where skill is sharpened, discipline is strengthened, and dreams take shape. Most people wish for transformation, but few are willing to set aside a sacred hour to make it real. The reason one focused hour is so powerful is because it's an hour without compromise. No phone buzzing, no idle chatter. No, I'll just check my messages for a minute. This is your hour to move the needle on your life's most important work. It's your hour to read deeply, to plan clearly, to build deliberately, to create boldly. And here's the secret: the magic doesn't happen just because you worked for 60 minutes. It happens because of what you do in that hour and how you protect it. You don't treat it casually. You step into it with intention, like a champion stepping into the ring. At first, this might be uncomfortable. Your mind will wander. You'll think about other things. But keep showing up for that hour day after day. In a month, you'll notice progress. In 3 months, you'll notice confidence. And in a year, you'll be a different person. An hour of focus each day doesn't just add up, it compounds. 1 hour a day is 365 hours a year. That's over 9 full 40-hour work weeks, dedicated solely to your personal growth, your craft, your dream. Imagine what you could build with that much concentrated effort. The difference between those who wish and those who win is simple. They've learned to protect the small pockets of focused time that others waste. You can't buy more hours in the day, but you can upgrade the hour you already have. If you want transformation, don't look for a miracle. Schedule it. Pick the hour, guard it, and give it your full attention. 1 year from now, you'll look back and realize you didn't just spend an hour a day. You built a life. Guarding your focused hour like gold means recognizing its value before anyone else does. Most people toss their time around like spare change, but if you treat a single hour of concentrated effort as if it were worth a fortune, it will start paying you back like an investment. Think about gold. People store it in vaults, protect it with locks, keep it away from harm. They don't leave it lying around where anyone can take it. Your focused hour deserves the same level of protection. This is the hour that belongs to your dreams, your goals, and your future. It's the time when you shut out the noise of the world and pour yourself into something that matters. And here's the thing, no one will protect it for you. If you leave that hour unguarded, the demands of life will take it. People will call, messages will ding, distractions will creep in. Before you know it, the gold will be gone, and all you'll have left is the dust of wasted time. You have to decide in advance that this hour is non-negotiable. That means when you set it, you keep it. You don't move it because you feel tired. You don't give it away because something came up. You defend it the way a banker guards the vault. If someone asks for that time, you politely but firmly say no. You see, the moment you let one person, one call, one urgent task into your hour, you've sent a message to yourself: this time isn't worth much. And once you believe that, the habit is gone. When you guard your focused hour, you're not just protecting 60 minutes. You're protecting momentum. Every day you keep that commitment, you build trust with yourself. You prove that your goals matter. You reinforce discipline. And discipline is worth more than gold because once you have it, it pays for everything else you want in life. Now, guarding your hour also means you have to know what it's for. You can't just sit there, clock ticking, and wonder what to do. That's like locking up an empty safe. There's no value inside. Before your hour begins, know exactly what you're going to work on. Write it down. Be specific. If you're writing, know the topic. If you're learning, know the material. If you're building, know the steps. That way, the moment your hour starts, you're already moving. And here's another truth. Other people won't understand at first. They might think you're being too rigid or too serious. But remember, no one else can see your vision the way you can. No one else knows what that focused hour is doing for your future. You're mining gold from the ground, and all they see is you with a shovel. But keep at it. One day, they'll see the treasure you've been digging for, and they'll understand why you kept that hour safe. It's also important to remove temptation during this time. Gold attracts thieves, and your attention attracts distractions. Put your phone in another room. Close the door. Shut down notifications. Create an environment where the only thing you can do is work. The fewer choices you have, the easier it is to stay locked in. And when that hour is over, treat it with respect. Don't judge it too harshly if it wasn't perfect. Some days will be breakthroughs, others will be steady work, but each one counts. Just like a miner doesn't find a nugget every swing of the pick, you won't have a masterpiece every time you sit down. But the point is, you kept the hour. You stayed in the mine. You kept digging. Over time, this guarded hour will become the most productive, most valuable part of your day. It will produce results that surprise you. Projects will get finished. Skills will sharpen. Ideas will take shape. And it all happens because you decided this one slice of time was worth more than the endless distractions fighting for it. Remember this. Gold is rare, and so is focus. If you want a life most people will never have, you have to do what most people will never do. And most people will never guard an hour a day for their dreams. But if you do day after day, the treasure you uncover will be more than worth the price you paid to protect it. Removing all distractions is about creating a space where your mind can breathe, think, and produce without being pulled in a dozen directions. Distraction is the silent thief of achievement. It doesn't just take away your time, it steals the depth of your focus. Every time you allow a distraction to slip in, you lose more than a few seconds. You lose the rhythm, the momentum, and the sharp edge of concentration that takes minutes to rebuild. If you want your focused hour to be truly valuable, you have to build a wall around it. Not a weak wall that lets in just one quick check of your phone, but a solid, unbreakable barrier. That means your phone is off, not on silent. Silence still vibrates, and vibration is just another voice saying, "Look at me." That means your email is closed, your browser is shut unless it's part of the work, and your door is closed. If possible, even lock it. Make it clear to yourself and to the world during this time you are not available. We live in a world designed to keep us distracted. Every app on your phone, every ping of a notification, every piece of media is competing for your attention. And if you're not careful, you'll give it away without realizing how much it costs. But your attention is your most valuable resource. It's the fuel for your ideas, the energy behind your work, the driver of your growth. When you give it away cheaply, you pay a high price later in missed opportunities and unfinished goals. Removing distractions isn't just about eliminating noise. It's about creating an environment where focus feels natural. That means setting up your space so everything you need is in reach and everything you don't need is out of sight. If you're writing, have your notes ready. If you're studying, have the material open. If you're building something, have the tools on the table. You want to remove every excuse to wander away from the task. But it's not only about the physical environment, it's also about the mental one. Sometimes the biggest distractions come from inside your own head. You sit down to work, and suddenly you remember the bill you need to pay, the call you forgot to return, the item you meant to buy. The mind loves to throw up little to-do lists the moment you start focusing. The trick is to keep a notepad beside you, not to deal with those things right away, but to write them down and return to them later. That way, you capture the thought without letting it pull you off track. Another thing to understand is that distractions often hide behind the excuse of just a minute. Just a minute to check the news, just a minute to scroll through messages, just a minute to respond to someone. But those minutes don't exist in isolation. They ripple out. You think you're only stepping away for a moment, but the cost is breaking the mental flow you worked so hard to build. By the time you come back, you're not at the same depth of thought. You're back on the surface, and it takes effort to dive in again. If you train yourself to remove all distractions for that 1 hour, you'll be surprised at how much more you can accomplish. You'll notice that your mind starts working at a higher speed, your ideas come more clearly, and your output improves. That's because your brain can finally operate without interruption. It can follow a thought to its conclusion without having to start over every few minutes. There's a discipline here, and discipline is built like a muscle. At first, you might feel restless. You'll want to check your phone. You'll feel the pull of habits that have been trained over years of constant connection. But every time you resist, you strengthen the muscle. And soon, that focused state will become your natural mode during the hour you've set aside. The truth is, removing all distractions is not just about productivity. It's about respect. Respect for your own time, respect for your own goals, respect for the work that matters most to you. Because if you can't give your dreams 60 minutes of undivided attention, you're telling yourself it's not worth much. And if it's not worth much to you, why would it ever become something great? So when the hour begins, step into it fully. Shut out the noise, silence the pings, and put away the temptations. Let the world wait. It will still be there when you're done. But in that hour, let nothing come between you and the work that could change your life. That's how you turn a simple block of time into a force for transformation. Knowing exactly what you'll work on is like sharpening the blade before you swing the axe. Too many people step into their hour of focus without a clear plan, and then they wonder why it slips through their fingers without much to show for it. The truth is, the mind needs a target. Without one, it wanders. Without one, it drifts into easy tasks, small distractions, and busy work that feels productive but produces little. If you want your focused hour to count, you can't start it by figuring out what to do. You must decide before the clock begins. That means making a choice the night before or at least early in the day. When you sit down, you should already know the exact task you're going to tackle, the steps you'll take, and the outcome you're aiming for. That way, you don't lose the first 10 or 15 minutes in hesitation and indecision. Think about how a skilled craftsman works. They don't walk into the shop and say, "Well, let's see what I feel like building today." They walk in with a blueprint, the tools ready, and the materials in place. They can begin immediately because the thinking was done beforehand. The focused hour is your workshop, and you need to walk in ready to work, not to wonder. There's a hidden danger in not knowing exactly what you'll work on. You'll end up filling the time with comfortable tasks instead of meaningful ones. Maybe you'll reorganize a drawer, skim through old emails, tweak something that doesn't need much tweaking. It feels like progress, but it's not the kind of progress that moves you closer to your big goals. Clarity forces you to spend that hour on what truly matters, not just what's easy in the moment. When you decide in advance, you also give your mind a chance to prepare. If you know you're going to write a chapter, your subconscious starts thinking about it before you even sit down. If you know you're going to solve a particular problem, ideas begin forming in the background of your mind. By the time your hour starts, you're already in motion. That head start is worth more than you realize. Preparation also means gathering what you need before you begin. If your hour is for study, have your books and notes open to the right place. If it's for creating, have your tools or software ready. If it's for planning, have your data and resources at hand. The fewer interruptions you face during that hour, the more powerfully your focus will work for you. And here's something important. Knowing what to work on doesn't mean trying to do everything. That hour should be dedicated to one major task or one well-defined set of steps. Trying to juggle too many things in that time scatters your energy. Focus is about depth, not breadth. One solid brick laid in that hour is worth more than scattering pebbles all over the place. Another benefit of deciding in advance is that it builds the habit of prioritizing. Each day, you're forced to ask yourself, what's the most important thing I can work on in my focused hour today? That question sharpens your sense of what matters and trains you to think in terms of impact. Over time, you get better and better at identifying high-value work. It's also worth noting that your focused hour is not the time for planning, it's the time for execution. Planning has its place, but it should happen before the hour begins. The moment the clock starts, your only job is to do. The faster you get from start to action, the more of that precious hour you'll actually use for forward movement. When you finish a focused hour that was clearly defined before it began, there's a deep satisfaction in knowing you made progress exactly where you intended. You don't have that vague feeling of, I was busy, but what did I actually do? Instead, you can point to a specific result and say, that's done. And that sense of completion is a powerful motivator for the next day. Clarity is a multiplier. It takes the 60 minutes you already have and doubles or triples the value you can get from them. Without it, you're like an archer shooting arrows without a target. With it, every arrow flies toward a purpose. So decide ahead of time. Be specific. Be intentional. When your focused hour arrives, let there be no hesitation. Only action aimed squarely at the work that matters most. That's how you turn an hour into a stepping stone toward the life you want. Start small, stay consistent. That's a principle that has built more fortunes, more skills, and more personal transformations than almost anything else. Yet it's a principle most people overlook because they're always chasing something big right from the start. They want to leap to the finish line without running the race. They want the reward without the discipline that earns it. But the truth is, anything lasting is built in layers, and the first layer is always small, simple, and steady. When you start small, you give yourself a chance to win early. Too many people overwhelm themselves with grand plans and massive goals that sound impressive but are impossible to maintain. They set the bar so high that they stumble almost immediately, and then they quit, telling themselves the goal was too hard. The problem wasn't the goal, it was the approach. A small start is like planting a seed. You don't drop a tree into the ground fully grown. You plant something tiny and let it take root. Consistency is what turns that seed into something strong. It's not the one burst of effort that changes you. It's the daily, steady action over time. You can't go to the gym for 8 hours once and expect to be fit for life. You can't read for 12 hours on a Sunday and expect to be wise by Monday. But one focused hour a day, repeated day after day, will transform you in ways you can't even imagine in the beginning. The beauty of starting small is that it's easy to begin. Anyone can commit to a single hour a day, or even less at first. You don't need to wait for perfect conditions. You don't need special equipment. You just need to begin today. And once you've begun, your job is simply to keep going. That's where consistency comes in. Small effort done daily compounds into big results, and the compounding is what makes the difference. Here's the trap most people fall into. They think because the start is small, it's insignificant. They underestimate the value of the daily effort because they can't see the results right away. But growth is invisible at first. Just like a seed underground, nothing seems to be happening. But if you stop watering it because you can't see it growing, you kill it before it has a chance. Consistency means you keep showing up even when you don't see immediate proof that it's working. Small beginnings also teach you discipline in a way big starts can't. When the action is manageable, you build the habit without exhausting yourself. You create a rhythm you can sustain. And once the habit is strong, you can increase the effort. But if you try to start with too much too soon, you burn out before the habit has a chance to take hold. There's also something powerful about letting momentum work for you. When you start small and stay consistent, momentum begins to build almost without you noticing. What feels like effort in the beginning becomes natural. What once required willpower becomes routine. And soon, you find yourself doing more than you thought possible. Not because you forced it, but because you grew into it. Staying consistent requires protecting your commitment. Life will always offer excuses, reasons to skip just this once. But every skipped day makes the next skip easier. Every kept day strengthens your discipline. Consistency isn't about perfection. You might miss a day here or there. But it's about making those misses rare, not the norm. The real magic of starting small and staying consistent is how it changes your identity. At first, you're just someone trying to work on a goal. But over time, you become someone who shows up. You stop negotiating with yourself about whether or not to do the work. You simply do it. That shift in identity is more valuable than the results themselves, because once you see yourself as someone who follows through, you can apply that discipline to anything. And here's the best part: the longer you stay consistent, the bigger the gap between you and everyone else. Most people start big and quit early. You start small and keep going. A year from now, you're still moving forward while they're still looking for the next big thing to try. You're building something real while they're chasing another shortcut. So don't be afraid to start with something small. 1 hour a day, 1 page a day, 1 practice session a day. Make it so small you can't make excuses not to do it. Then do it every day until it becomes part of who you are. Over time, you'll look back and realize the small start was never small at all. It was the foundation for everything that followed. Choosing high-impact activities means understanding that not all work is created equal. You can spend an entire day being busy and still end it with nothing to show that truly moves your life forward. That's because business and progress are not the same thing. The key is to recognize the difference between activity that fills your time and activity that builds your future. High-impact activities are the ones that, if repeated consistently, will make a real difference in your results, your skills, your opportunities, and your life. They're the things that bring you closer to your biggest goals, not just the things that make you feel productive. The challenge is the world rewards business more visibly than it rewards impact. You get praise for answering emails quickly, for attending meetings, for checking small tasks off a list. But none of that matters much if it's not tied to meaningful outcomes. When you step into your focused hour each day, the choice of what you work on determines whether that hour is powerful or wasted. If you spend it doing something trivial, you might feel a sense of accomplishment in the moment, but it will vanish quickly. If you spend it on a high-impact task, you might not finish it in that hour, but you'll know you're pushing something important forward. To choose high-impact activities, you have to be honest about what actually drives results for you. In most cases, the highest impact work is the one that's the most uncomfortable. The call you've been avoiding, the problem you've been postponing, the skill you've been meaning to develop. These are the things that require courage, thought, and effort. They're not always urgent, but they are almost always important. You can't let urgency dictate your priorities. Urgency screams at you. Importance whispers. If you only listen to the loudest voice, you'll spend your life reacting instead of creating. Choosing high-impact activities means you pause long enough to ask yourself, if I could only accomplish one thing today that would matter a month from now, what would it be? Then you make that the centerpiece of your focused hour. Here's another way to look at it. Imagine your life as a boat. Every activity you do either moves the boat forward, keeps it still, or spins it in circles. Low-impact work is like paddling in circles. You're moving, but you're not getting anywhere. High-impact work is like aiming your boat toward your destination and paddling hard in that direction. That's the work that gets you closer to your vision. Sometimes, high-impact activities don't give you instant rewards. You might work on a project for weeks before you see a result. That's okay. The impact is in the direction you're moving, not just in what you finish today. Think of it like planting trees. You don't eat the fruit the same day you plant the seed, but without the planting, there is no harvest. Choosing high-impact work also requires saying no to a lot of things. Every time you choose to work on something important, you're also choosing not to spend that time on something less valuable. That's the discipline. Being willing to leave certain tasks undone because they don't truly matter. The inbox will still be there later. The small errands can wait. Your focused hour is for the kind of work that changes your trajectory. And here's the truth. You probably already know what your high-impact activities are. They're the things you keep telling yourself you'll get to when you have time. They're the things that require planning, thought, and energy. They might even scare you a little because you know they matter. The fear and resistance you feel toward them is a clue. They're worth doing. When you fill your focused hour with high-impact activities, you begin to feel the difference almost immediately. Your work has weight. Your progress is measurable. Your sense of purpose sharpens. Instead of wondering where the time went, you can point to something concrete you've done that moves you forward. Over a year, the compounding effect is enormous. 60 minutes a day on high-impact work is 365 hours of concentrated progress toward your biggest goals. That's the equivalent of several full work months. Imagine where you could be if you gave that kind of time and attention to the work that matters most day after day. The choice is always there: fill your time or fulfill your purpose. One will keep you busy, the other will change your life. That's why you must choose high-impact activities for your focused hour. Because when you look back, it won't be the small, easy tasks that define your success. It will be the meaningful work you had the courage and discipline to prioritize.